What's up, guys? I'm AustinJovi, and today we'll be looking at, come on, guess it. You've obviously read the title by now. Come on. Nothing? Well, for those of you that are too lazy to look down and read the title, today we will be looking at my top 6 favorite video game series. Video games are a favorite pastime for many people, and for some, such as myself, it's a hobby. And with so many differing tastes in games out there on the market, it's nearly impossible to collectively agree on the best. However, this is my video, so I'm telling you what the best are. Let's do this. My 6th favorite video game series of all time is the 007 series, namely the GoldenEye, Agent Under Fire, and Nightfire games. Surprisingly, not many have heard of these games, despite the huge success of the films, which leads me to believe that this lineup of games is highly underrated. In the 007 games, you assume the role of British Secret Intelligence Service Agent James Bond. Each game has a unique assortment of weapons and gadgets from the James Bond movies that are used to complete various missions. While the majority of the games are based off of their respective films, the video game company EA used some creative license to publish their own non-canonical games, which are actually pretty fun. Even though I previously stated that large numbers of people weren't aware of this series, there are a lot that at least heard of GoldenEye 007. GoldenEye originally was released in 1997 for the Nintendo 64, and is considered one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time amongst gamers, as it was revolutionary when it was released. The game was praised for its detailed graphics, and it even attracted those that didn't belong to the PC first-person shooter stereotype. In fact, those of you that love Call of Duty can thank GoldenEye for its existence. GoldenEye was mainly known for its 4-player team deathmatch, which was something the developers threw into the game just weeks before release. It was this form of multiplayer that influenced online gameplay as we know today. If it wasn't for the developers implementing this into the game at the last second, there's a good chance that online FPSs wouldn't exist. Even though these games are no longer popular, I still love them. They were what I played growing up. Most cool to a 9-year-old than controlling a secret agent with guns and cool gadgets. And how can we all not love the cool music? Also, it's good because you can't quickscope. Good fight, caught, owned. My 5th favorite video game series of all time is The Last of Us. This game isn't even a series, yet it's so good, I'm still including it. The Last of Us was released in 2013 by Naughty Dog, the developers of the Uncharted series. I'm a firm believer that this is the greatest game on the PS3, as nearly every aspect of the game is perfect. Heck, even Metacritic and IGN.com gave it a perfect rating, the same websites that respectively rated Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 a 4.5 out of 5 and 9.5 out of 10. In The Last of Us, you take control of a protagonist simply named Joel, who's trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world full of humans infected with a real-life fungus called cordyceps. Cordyceps is a parasite that spreads through the air and enters the host through inhalation. Once the fungus enters the body, it begins to replace its host's tissue, and eventually takes control of the host's brain and motor functions. While this fungus does exist, there's no need to grab your pitchforks and stockpile food. Cordyceps can't infect humans, only insects and other arthropods. In The Last of Us, this fungus changes human behavior depending on how long they've been infected. Upon initially getting infected, aggression levels rise, and they tend to be extremely violent. After they've been infected for a while, they lose their sight and use echolocation to find anyone nearby that isn't infected. And like every other stereotypical zombie, the only goal is to attack those that don't have the virus. The game follows Joel's journey to deliver Ellie, a teenager that contains valuable information to the Fireflies, a growing group of survivors that call for the restoration of legislature in the U.S. government. Since they are an underground organization, Joel has to use his resources to find the Fireflies, all while avoiding the tyrannical government that watches his every move. Throughout his adventure, he must fight against the infected, elude thugs that can control entire cities, and overcome a past that continues to haunt him.
You're right. You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
With limited ammo and an abundance of enemies, Surviving truly is a struggle. Every penny that I put in this game was more than worth it. The only complaint I could even try to come up with is that I wish it was longer, and it has an extensive amount of gameplay as it is. Everything about it is perfect. The storyline is the best that I've seen in a long time. The music fits every situation flawlessly. The controls are incredibly simple, and the developers put a lot of effort into making sure each button and joystick was properly used for its purpose. Combine all that together, and you have an incomparable survival horror game. While I haven't ventured into the universe of Dead Space, I firmly believe that it shadows in comparison to The Last of Us. Now, some of you may be wondering why this is only ranked number 5, since I praise it so much. Well, that's the exact reason. It's one game, not a series. Should this game have had more entries into the lineup, this definitely would have ranked 2nd or 3rd. Naughty Dog hasn't denied the possibility of a sequel, but the developer has also stated that he doesn't want to make another if the story isn't worth telling. We'll have to wait and see what the future holds. My 4th favorite video game series of all time is the Super Smash Bros. Franchise, a series that is loved by many and is one of Nintendo's highest-selling titles. In Super Smash Bros., you find its well-known Nintendo characters, such as Mario, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Link, Kirby, and Pikachu, and duke it out against other players. Rather than use the standard health bar that other fighting games have, the goal is to hit your opponent as much as possible to increase their damage percentage. Each fighter starts off with 0% and can have up to 999%. The more damage an enemy has, the farther they fly off the screen when hit. For example, somebody with 20% would barely be affected by a fully charged smash attack, whereas someone with 300% would easily fly off the screen with a basic A attack. Depending on the game mode, the winner is determined by either the last man standing or having the most kills. If this game shows up at a party, you know you're going to have a good time. Heck, you might even leave that night hating some new people. Since this game is so easy to pick up and learn, it easily appeals to newcomers to the series. There are 4 main games in this series, and each of them are well made. Super Smash Bros. Was released in 1999 for Nintendo 64, and is remembered for its breakaway from the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat style fighting game. Super Smash Bros. Melee was released in 2001 for the GameCube, and was praised for its improved graphics and quality in-game cutscenes. Super Smash Bros. Brawl was released in 2008 for the Wii, and was best known for its online multiplayer mode. And Super Smash Bros. Wii U was released in 2014 for the Wii U and 3DS, and its emphasis is the use of the gamepad and 8-player Smash. Caution! This part of the video contains spoilers. For those of you that want to have a spoiler-free experience, skip ahead to the time listed on the screen. Each consecutive game adds more to its amount of content, such as the addition of Super Smashes in Brawl. Most notably, however, is the ever-growing roster. In the original Smash Bros., the roster only contained 12 characters, but with the advances in technology, Super Smash Bros. Wii U has quadrupled its roster, having 49 playable characters. Some of my personal favorites are Link, Marth, Ike, Mega Man, Mr. Game & Watch, and Falco. As far as sequels go, the game's director Masahiro Sakurai has claimed that he doesn't plan on making another game in the series. As much as I don't want to admit it, I would have to agree with him. Super Smash Bros. Wii U already has most of the characters that most gamers have asked for, such as Mega Man and Pac-Man, so I don't see who else he would add. Only time will tell the fate of this franchise. Yep, my 3rd favorite video game series of all time is the Star Wars Battlefront games. This collection of 2 games is well known amongst gamers, new and old, and many agree it is one of the greatest franchises of all time. The game was an empire in the industry, wowing players with its revolutionary online multiplayer features. In Star Wars Battlefront, you play as a soldier in one of the 4 factions: the Republic, the CIS, the Rebels, or the Empire. In Battlefront 1, there are 5 classes, with 4 of them that are nearly identical to one another. The other class is a character that is unique to that faction, and has a special ability. In Battlefront 2, an additional class was added to each faction, and these 2 are unique to their respective army. However, in Battlefront 2, you have to kill a certain number of enemies in order to unlock them. The goal in Star Wars Battlefront is to either eradicate the opposing army or capture all their command posts. Capturing command posts generally guarantees a fast victory, but it's typically hard to do, considering all 16 enemies will spawn from the only command post they have. There is so much to love about this game. Even though I never really experienced online play, there was still plenty to do. There was a campaign mode, where you could reenact famous scenes from the movie. There was a mode called Galactic Conquest, which has a lot of similarities to the board game Risk. And if I felt like just jumping straight into battle, instant action was always available. It's no wonder why I played this game for hours on end growing up. One of my fondest memories was using cheats for invincibility and unlimited ammo, and then completely dominating on the battlefield. I may have only played on the easiest difficulty on both of them, but hey, I thought I was cool. And if I had to pick my favorite aspect of the game, I'd have to say that nothing in this game was overpowered. There's a health bar, so that you won't be insta-killed just because you ran past someone. All the classes are essentially the same, so there are no overpowered weapons. Also, there's no quickscoping in this game. You can't do that. While nearly every aspect of this game is outdated, it still holds a special place in my heart. LucasArts had planned for a sequel, but cancelled it. After getting bought out by Disney, LucasArts was shut down and sold the Battlefront title to EA. They are currently developing the next game in the series, and many gamers are concerned about it, as its developer DICE has stated that it will be DICE's interpretation of what Battlefront should be. I have high expectations for this upcoming sequel, and DICE had better not screw up the game of my childhood. I don't have a cool intro for this one, as there weren't any introductions for this series. Anyways, my second favorite video game series of all time is the Warcraft series. And no, I'm not talking about the online MMO, I hate that one. I'm talking about the original real-time strategy games. There are 3 main games in the franchise, with expansions for the last 2. Warcraft 1 released in 1994, Warcraft 2 released in 1995, and Warcraft 3 released in 2002. In Warcraft, you take control of a race with its own individual characteristics. In Warcraft 1 and 2, you can play as either the humans or the orcs, and Warcraft 3 introduced 2 new races, the Undead and the Night Elves. I'd love to show you clips from Warcraft 1 and 3, but for whatever reason, my video editor is giving me problems with it too. So we're stuck with just Warcraft 2 for now. In Warcraft 1, the only real differences are the archers and the spellcasters, so the 2 races are essentially the same. Just like Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2 has the humans and orcs nearly identical. Rather than having a weak unit that can heal like the cleric in Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2 gives the healing ability to the knight. You can now have a fast-moving, high-damaging healer to populate your army, which is probably why this is my favorite in the series. In addition to healing, human spellcasters can slow enemies, throw a protective barrier of fire around anyone, turn allies invisible, and even turn others into sheep. Other than that, the Elven Rangers get 3 more damage than the Troll Berserkers when fully upgraded. The Orcs have Ogres that can cast Bloodlust, which doubles a unit's damage. Their Death Knights can speed up units, raise the dead, and temporarily make a unit invincible at the cost of some of their hit points. Their Troll Berserkers have the ability to automatically heal themselves, which is useful because you don't have to pay as much attention to them. As far as Warcraft 3 goes, there are too many differences, so I'll only touch the overall differences. The humans specialize in healing and defense, the orcs specialize in offense, the night elves specialize in hiding, and the undead specialize in being overpowered. When these came out, they were considered the greatest RTS PC games of the time. Everything about them was great. It was easy, fun, compelling, and intense. And, up until Warcraft 3, the sides were balanced. It has a multiplayer mode, but unfortunately, those days are over. It's a shame that I didn't know about it, because it seems like I would have enjoyed it. It was the first PC series I played growing up, and I still play it to this day. However, while I love this franchise to death, I couldn't justify putting it ahead of my #1 favorite series. My absolute favorite video game series of all time is undoubtedly the Legend of Zelda series. This shouldn't be a big shocker, as my hat that I was wearing at the beginning of this video had a Legend of Zelda logo on it. This is probably Nintendo's most recognized franchise next to Mario, so it's not a huge surprise that it has a huge following. In The Legend of Zelda, you play as the protagonist known as Link. Each game differs on plot, but most of them follow the save the princess from the evil guy motif. While it seems like the idea will get redundant after 17 games, it actually doesn't. Every one of the games that I have played have felt unique. even if it was as simple as changing the graphics style. Heck, they practically copied every character from Ocarina of Time and used them in Majora's Mask, yet the two games felt completely different. And with so many iterations, there was a game for everyone to love. Prefer retro games? Then play the original Legend of Zelda. Are you into games with a dark and impending doom feeling to it? Then try out Twilight Princess or Majora's Mask. Enjoy games that boast gorgeous HD graphics? Then give Wind Waker HD a shot. Going for games with a great plot? Then Ocarina of Time is for you. Nintendo usually only releases 2 Zelda games per console, and it is generally assumed that many love these titles so much because they aren't released every 12 months, so gamers are able to appreciate the quality of the game, unlike some franchises. Call of Duty. I have no complaints about this series at all. Every release is top of the line for its time, each has an exceptional story to tell, and not one of the dungeons feels like another. This is especially true for my very first Zelda game, The Wind Waker. I'll never forget the day my father brought home the game with the golden case. My 9-year-old mind was blown as I discovered the bright, cartoony graphics and simple gameplay. It was very easy to learn, and each and every island was enjoyable. Twilight Princess was the second game in this series I've played, and that one was just as amazing. Since I was a little older when it was released, I was able to appreciate the game's dark atmosphere. While I have played other Zelda games, this one remains as my overall favorite. And there you have it, the top 6 greatest video game series of all time. As you can see, a lot of these games aren't brand spanking new, which should tell you what type of gamer I am. And while some gamers may disagree with me, these are the games I love. Nothing can change that. Anyways, this is AustinJovi, and I'm heading out. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If for whatever reason someone other than my capstone coaches are watching this that enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend heading over to a YouTube channel that my friends and I made. If you're looking for a good laugh and love watching a group of 4 guys yell at each other, then go no further than the Team Prime Gaming YouTube channel. Link is on the screen and in the description. I look forward to seeing you there.